A new command post by Texas DPS on the border between Texas and Mexico.
We actually started shifting our people, and we actually have criminal trespass on these properties.
It's an area called Normandy, mostly filled with farmland. But the illegal activity happening here from the other side of the border, not only threatening the security of the United States, but also putting migrants at risk, is the reason why DPS says they have now built this command post in Normandy. Hi friends, I'm Jamie Virgen with Sinclair Broadcasting in San Antonio, Texas. Traveling this week, Eagle Pass, Texas. We're just a little bit west of there in an area called Normandy. We're out here now because DPS has created not only a new base, but also a command post that is now being manned by National Guard and also troopers from different parts of the United States. This area is also where just recently 5 Syrians were caught crossing with a large group of migrants. Our guide today is Renee Cordova from the Texas DPS. So talk to us about this new area where you have a command post set up.
Well, this area that we have, which is here in Maverick County, is located here in Maverick County. We've actually moved a command post down into this area due to the fact because of the immigrants are starting to shift away from Shelby Park. So we're actually kind of like tracking them as they move. We're moving with them. So a lot of times we're trying to stay on top of them. This area wasn't being utilized. It was being utilized for a while because it's due to because we were involved in the Shelby Park area, so a lot of these places were being invaded, and so now that it slowed down, they started shifting north. So we actually started shifting our people, and we actually have criminal trespass on these properties.
Okay, so talk to us about that shift. What's the water like? And maybe we'll talk about that down there, but this area is not as shallow, as easy to get through as the other area, right? But people are still coming through?
Some of the water is kind of high, but some of it is very low. I mean, it's probably less than knee deep here on some places. It just depends where you're crossing. You can actually see the rocks in the river.
Okay. Talk to us about who's manning this. Is it only you guys? Is it a combination?
It's mostly DPS that's actually that are here. We have some teams that are here. Arrest teams, like brush teams, trained teams that are actually enforcing this criminal trespass on these properties, and they're trying to secure all these areas that are being invaded by these immigrants. They're trying to find a way to. We're making it very difficult for them right now, and they're just trying to see where they can get through right now.
How's criminal trespass working right now in the state of Texas in this area?
In this area, it's been very effective. It has been very effective. Once we start, it doesn't take very long before they start getting the word out, because they all communicate with each other, with families on the other side of the river, and it doesn't take long. Our numbers started kind of high. Now it's very low. Now you'll catch a group of 4 or 5, in which we were catching at least, it could be 80, 50, but now the word's already out. So the thing is it's a situation where they're finding out already what's happening, and they know that they're getting arrested, especially the adults. And they're only arresting adults that are older than 17 years of age, single males, single females. The family units are still being turned over, and the children are still turned over to U.S. Border Patrol.
Okay, so once you guys get them and they're older than 17, what's the process here? Talk to us about the vehicles that are out here.
So what's here is we also have TDC. They're also assisting us in case we get a large group, so they can go ahead and transport for us, because we have just smaller vans. So TDC is also assisting us in case of a large group, 50, 60 people. They can do the transport for us in case we can have more than what we can carry. The process is here. We bring them here to the command post, and the situation is once they're arrested, they're taken to Del Rio and they're processed just like a normal person would in a county jail or a city jail. They're fingerprinted, they're magistrated just the same way as anybody, even if you're a U.S. citizen, even though they're processed the same way as a U.S. citizen as well.
You guys have more than just what we can see. You have other technology out here?
Yes, of course, we have drones. We have drones to assist us as well. Because it's the better technology we have. On the other side, they have the same thing, and they're just like we're watching them. They're watching us. It's a cat and mouse game.
So the 5 migrants that were caught with a group of undocumented actually were a family group. So 3 of them were in a family group. 2 of them were single men. They're treated completely different. When it's a family group, the Texas DPS hands them over to Border Patrol because it's a family unit. When it's single men, they get charged with trespassing because they were caught in a farm where the owner has signed off allowing the state of Texas to write criminal trespassing charges on anyone crossing their area illegally. But there's also a series of other things that are done because they're coming in from a country that is known also to have deep sentiments against the United States. Not saying that these people are coming here to do any harm, but they have to double check and triple check what their intentions or their background may be. We speak with Lieutenant Chris Olivares of DPS. All right, Lieutenant, so tell us about the people that you guys caught there in Normandy, which I was like, we were just there last week. So I was pretty shocked. So tell us about the area and how you guys caught them.
Normandy is an area that we still continue to see crossings taking place now, not like what it used to be, where we were seeing, hundreds and hundreds of people coming across. Right now, we're seeing maybe, groups of 50, maybe upwards to 100. But yesterday, in this particular group, there was a group of over 100 plus illegal immigrants that had just crossed in that area. And within that group, there were 5 individuals from Syria, 2 that were single adults, which the video that I shared, those individuals, but also there was a husband and wife and a child as well that were with this group. Those individuals, we refer them to Border Patrol because they did present themselves as a family. But these 2 single adults they came across, no relation to the other family, were arrested for criminal trespass. So, and of course, you hear in that video, I mean, they spoke, pretty much perfect Spanish. They spent quite a bit of time in Venezuela. They shared their journey from when they left Syria, how they got to the U.S., how much they paid. But of course, it's very rare that we come across special interest migrants, especially from areas that have ties to terrorism, countries that have ties to terrorism. But again, we're seeing it there. I think it's an example of some of the individuals that we're seeing other than Central America, Mexico, and other, Latin American countries that we're seeing some individuals on rare occasions from the Middle East.
Okay. Let me ask you, these 2 gentlemen, were they either one of them, do you guys believe were on a terror watch list?
Typically, what we do in this process when we come across any individual from a special interest country that may have ties to a country that has ties to terrorism, we will arrest them for state charges, but also we contact federal authorities. We will contact the FBI. We will run our necessary checks through the United States to see if they have any criminal backgrounds. Let me do it again. Got interrupted.
That's okay. No worries. No worries.
So anytime we come across anybody that has, that's coming from a special interest country that may have, ties to terrorism, we will make the arrest for state charges. We will take them to jail. But in that process, we also contact,
It's all good. Trust me, the morning I'm having, oh my God. Yeah. Hard, of course. All right.
Let me give it a few. Okay.
Okay. So do you, these
so let me go back. I'll say it again.
Yeah, these individuals, do you believe any of them were on the terror watch list?
So typically when we come across anybody that may, be coming from a special interest country, especially from Syria, any country that may have ties to terrorism, we will make the arrest for state charges. We will take them to jail. But also during that process, we'll contact federal authorities, meaning we'll contact Border Patrol, we'll contact the FBI. to make sure all the proper checks are done, that they're not wanted or they're not on the terror watch list. Now, when we run our checks through the United States, through our system, if there's an alert for someone that's on the terror watch list, we will get that alert. But in some cases where we don't receive it, we will do that double check to make sure they're not wanted or being looked at by federal authorities. So we will contact the FBI, let them know who we have in our custody, and then from there they'll tell us or we'll proceed further. But in the meantime, these two individuals from yesterday are in state custody right now for criminal trespass charges.
All right, and you guys are still running your checks.
Right, and that's one thing too that's different kind of with us, with the state, is that we have more time now to run proper checks on these individuals. Of course, we know, and we've talked about this, where Border Patrol is just so inundated with the amount of people coming across, and a lot of people get released, and then they find out maybe days later, weeks later, that individual they released was wanted or on the terror watch list, and then now they got to go track them and find them. At least now in our custody, we have more time to do all the proper checks to make sure we contact all the authorities, federal authorities, to make sure that the individuals that we have in our custody are clear of any warrants or clear of any type of checks or on the terror screening database. So it gives us more time to make sure to ensure the safety and security of the people that we have, that they're not wanted for any type of crimes or that they're not being looked at by federal authorities.
All right, so consider this a win for everybody that these people were caught. You can do these checks.
It is, it is, because I think that's one of the biggest issues that we have been facing for the last, almost, a little over 3 years now, is that a lot of agents, Border Patrol agents, just don't have the time. And it's not, any fault of their own, but the fact is that they just don't have the time because of so many people coming across to do proper checks. And now, we've seen some of these, tragic, events that have taken place throughout the country. But at least on our side now, I would say it's a win in a sense that we can actually apprehend these individuals, regardless if they may have some type of, affiliation to any type of terrorist groups, or maybe not. But at least we can do the proper checks, and we can ensure the safety and security of our state and the country to making sure that these individuals are properly checked, properly vetted.
That's all for this week. For another edition of Immigration Crisis, the fight for the southern border in Eagle Pass, Texas, I'm Jami Virgen and photojournalist Paul Sanchez. We'll see you next time.